for me and you. Why don't you study my gender? Tell those titled lies that the violence is justified, says the right kind of lies. Why don't you study my gender? Time to fun anymore. That I used to be quiet and pretty, and you like the old me more. Why don't you study my gender? Stretch it out so we both can see. Ask evasive questions, pretend you're not hurting me. Cause when you study my gender, and we fight this dirty war, and I tell you that you're trash, and you call me a whore, there's nothing gained and nothing ventured, and there's no outcome we haven't seen before. So go ahead, study my gender, bring all your fears and optimisms to the fore. Cause when you study my gender, guess what? I like the new me more. Cause when you study my gender, guess what? I like the new me more.
Welcome to Sessions from Oblivion. You've been listening to the raucous sound of male playing gender studies. Gender studies. What could that be about?
It's about, I did a master's in gender studies.
Did you?
And now I'm in a band. I actually saw my dissertation supervisor and I was like, hello, Egle, in case you're watching. She was like, oh my God, what are you up to? And I was like, so, let me tell you. But yeah, it's basically about, I had like a specific incident with some members of my extended family in which they were like, why have you got into all this feminism business? We liked the old you more. And then that was like the seed of the song, and I wrote it on my nose.
Did your family say that to you?
Yeah. Extended members of my family, yeah.
We like the old version of you.
Yeah, we like the old
I hope
you
you
more.
told them exactly what you thought of them.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And wrote a song.
Yeah, and I wrote a song. I wrote a song,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I wrote the lyrics. I don't know anything about music writing. That was...
Jamie.
And all of
Zoe.
the music players.
And Connie.
Well done, Andrew.
Actually,
that was
no,
a test.
how did it start? What was the riff, or was it the lyric? Can you remember?
Was Gender Studies one of the ones that I...
Yeah.
I had like done a bunch of demos of stuff like the day before we went in to record, and I think was it that you wanted faster than
Yeah.
I was? Yeah, so
Okay.
I just came up with a bunch of stuff and sent it to them, and
Was that in lockdown?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember. My memory is terrible.
I've written the lyrics as like a poem on my notes app before, like months before. Really, even before we kind of reformed, I just like wrote it at 2 a.m. coming home from like a shift in the restaurant I work in.
Right.
And then when we reformed, Jamie was like, oh, like I was like, oh, I have this, maybe a song. And Jamie did a bunch of demos. And I was like, oh, I think maybe these could work together.
Yeah.
Great. By the time this airs, you will have done your European tour, and you'll be gearing up for, is it an album release?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
We're releasing our debut album on the 3rd of February. It's called Attachment Styles. We recorded it in April? May.
Yeah, no, in April into May.
April into May,
Right,
over
okay.
the space of 7 days. Jamie, she produces and records all of our music, masters it, mixes it, everything. Zoe is our creative director. She has done all the videos for it, the artwork for it, everything.
You've shot the
everything
videos.
you see,
yeah.
Zoe has done.
Yeah.
So it's a real labour of love, I would say.
You do the business end of it, is that right?
Yes, I run the label that it comes out on as well.
Okay. What's that label?
It's called Tool, Tulle.
Right. Cool. Is it an EP or an LP?
It's an LP. We released our first EP last year.
Right.
This is our first LP.
Everyone seems to be doing an EP. Is it just laziness, or?
That's not for us to say.
We can only speak for ourselves. We did our first EP, which is called Gender Studies, last year, and we wrote it and recorded it in 3 days. And it was a very kind of playful approach, I think, to getting back into writing music together during the pandemic. It was just a really nice way to share and create something and, to be honest, have fun in very bad circumstances.
And it was the first time we'd written something together in like
years.
5 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that was the first time I was involved in writing anything with you guys.
Are you
I
serious?
think so.
I think so.
How did it work then before that?
She started as our live sound engineer.
Really?
Yeah.
I love your bass rig. It's an ancient Studio Master 8-channel desk.
Yeah.
I remember them.
It's funny, every time I bring it out to a gig, someone always goes like, I haven't seen one of those in 20 years.
Here we are.
Yeah.
And you just like the sound out of it.
Yeah. It's just really particularly weird. Like,
Great.
yeah. I've played lots of like nicer amps that do like nicer things, but like
Yeah. You
when
like
you
the,
don't really want to be nice, it's kind of perfect.
Right. How did the two bassists come around? That's an unusual thing.
So Zoe was the original, well, not the original bassist. There was another bassist before, like in
Right.
the very first iteration of the band, and then Zoe replaced her. And then that was while I was engineering, like doing the live engineering.
Yeah.
And Zoe, basically, you weren't able to do some of the shows, and I, like, just
You
from
stood in?
having, yeah, from having watched all the shows, I was able to like.
And then you
oh, I can
weren't
just do this.
replaceable. You made yourself.
I just love the dynamic of the two bassists playing together.
It works.
But
Oh,
also
it's
amazing in terms of depth of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful
Very different
for
styles.
backline.
Awful for
Very
backline.
bad for backline.
You have to get that Hofner.
Yeah.
That's a great bass. Your PR says Irish intersectional feminist post-punk.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Well, we are Irish.
I got that bit, Caddy. Thank you.
The intersectional thing is we try to look at feminism as kind of one part of an overall inequality in society conversation.
If you think of it as an intersection at roads.
Yeah.
Okay.
So some people come to feminism just as discrimination against their gender, and some people come, so if you think of it like this, so let's say I'm white and I'm a woman, so there we go, I have one line of discrimination. But if I'm black and a woman, I have an intersection of discrimination. If I'm black and queer and a woman, and it was like a theory coined by a black feminist called Kimberly Crenshaw to describe the kind of like, I guess you would call like matrix of oppression that different people face. So it's looking at not just feminism through like a white liberal woman's gaze, but trying to view it like holistically, essentially.
Okay. You did study this.
I know. In University of Bristol, one of the best universities in the world.
But of course, yeah. Okay, we'll have a little bit of a chat later on, but first it's time for our guest, which is Farah Elle.
بنتي الشلبي عيون السليم حبك من قلبي يا وبنتي وعيون عيننا Every now and then I'll have forgotten it, but I know it's in me. At peace is all I've ever wanted. Then it hits me and it's so hard to be. This cloak ain't all its darkness, it carries me. Oh, how it feels when it's so haunted, and it makes it hard to see what's going on beneath. When it hits me, when it hits me, it makes it hard to be. And it hits me, when it hits me, it makes it hard to breathe. This veil of silk, what could be wrong with it? It's nothing but serene. My eyes are how you'd recognize me, because all that matters is my identity. But what if I can't see? What if I find it hard to carry on being me? And what if this could be the only gate that welcomes every single part of me? Ooh, ooh,
me and take away our problems, and then maybe we could head out to sea. And what if this could be a solution to removing the veil that's wearing me? And all of a sudden I see that there's an ocean in the desert and it's waiting for me. Ooh, little it hits me and it, ooh, little it hits me. Ooh, little it hits me and it, binti shalabi, ayuna salim. When it hits me, when it hits me and makes it hard to breathe. And it hits me, when it hits me and makes it hard to breathe. And it hits me, when it hits me and makes it hard to breathe. And it hits me, when it hits me and makes it hard to breathe.
Thank you, Farah.
Thank you.
I think that was beautiful.
Thanks so much.
A very interesting intro. What is that about?
So that's based off an old folk song by Fairuz called Binti Shalabiya. It means my girl of Shalabiya, which is a surname.
Okay, and is Silk the song you just played on the recent release?
Yes. So Silk is the opening track to my debut album,
Okay.
which I released in October, and it's called Fatima.
Why is it called Fatima?
That's my mom's name.
Ah, sweet. I think we should dedicate the performance to all the mums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you. Thanks
Tips
so
and
much.
tricks on this episode is Damien Dempsey. Hello, Damien Dempsey, and welcome to Sessions from Oblivion. How are you doing?
How are you, Andrew? Good to see you, pal.
Great to see you. You're looking well, but you always do.
How are you, Mucker? How are you? You're the old charmer. The old charmer.
Right. Okay. Well, look, you don't need an introduction, so I won't give you one. Let's just jump straight into it. What would be the first bit of advice you would give, a young person getting into this game?
I suppose you had to have a lot of perseverance. You had to be dogged. Stick with it, there's a lot of ups and downs, I suppose, but it's a labour of love, It's playing music is a dream come true, So I have to say I'd work in a menial job just to be able to do what I do, with a shit boss just give me shit, but if I was able to do what I do, I'd do that.
Brilliant. What's the second tip or trick you might have?
I suppose don't rush into anything. Don't sign anything too early. Don't be too eager. I suppose if you're going to work with somebody, maybe do it on a gentle, an agreement or something for a while. See. For those that don't know, I am your regional agent, so we've worked together for a few years now, and I've noticed. At the band gigs and at the solo gigs, even though they're not solo because it could be Sean or Eamon playing with you, there really is a great warm feeling around your show and the people working it, the band and the crew. Yeah. I suspect that's not a fluke. You kind of have to work to get a good team around you. You have to go through a few. A few people. Let's say that they're just the great players and all, but you just didn't suit what was going on. Maybe their I don't know, their vibration was a bit different from what was going on. Yeah. Well, you've nailed it now. They really is. They're a fantastic bunch of people. Band crew. It takes you a while to get a good crew around you. If you might get lucky, you might get them straight away, but sometimes you have to weed out the ones who aren't really fitting in, and are making it life hard for the rest of the people there, or having a hard time being with the people there, or whatever, Right. There's a lot of different personalities and star signs, and egos going around the music game. So sometimes it's hard to get them all to fit into one group,
Right, well, they're there now. Have you got a final tip or trick demo?
Be careful, because people try to use it a bit, you know. They know musicians are a bit of a soft touch, you know, like we're sort of, you know, a bit sort of emphatic, you know. So some people they'll always be asking you, like, you know, to do things for free, you know, to do this and do that, and, you know. And they, you know, you go out and ask a plumber or a carpenter or a mechanic, will you do some, you know, work for free? They don't, you know. I think we were talking about this. Be nice to everybody you meet, you know, nice to sound men and crew, and, you know, and musicians and that, you know, just and it creates a better vibe, you know, I suppose, you know. And music should be a great vibe. Music should be a brilliant vibe, you know.
It should be, and it certainly is at your gigs. More than that, you know, it's been well documented. You and the audience. But what isn't well documented, like I mentioned, was you, the crew, and the guys in the band, and all that. It's a wonderful experience. And of course, we're recording this in 22. I think it's being transmitted in 23. So you'll be starting the Irish solo tour and leading up to Ivy Gardens, I guess. And we'll have you've already sold out 5 nights in Vicar Street. So listen, whatever you're doing, just keep doing it.
Another thing I wanted to say, Andrew, was make yourself right, you know. Sit down. You know, and the last thing you want to do is to have to sit down with the pen and paper and the guitar and piano or whatever, and just make yourself do it, and something will come. And even if it's not something good, it's like it might be a stepping stone to something better. And you have to make yourself right. You do. You have to, because you have to force yourself.
Do you? Do you have to? You got to be disciplined about sitting down to write music.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to, yeah. And a great way is taking the bones of someone else's song, taking one of your favourite songs and just sticking your own set of lyrics to it, you know.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, if you take an old folk song or something that you love, you know, stick your own...
too close to plagiarism now.
No, they all do it, Jesus. No, they all do it. Stick your own lyrics to it, then you can change the chords and melody, and then you have a brand new song. And the Artist's Way as well is great. That book, if you're struggling with a block. The Artist's Way is a book you can get, you know.
The Artist's Way?
The Artist's Way. I mean, you don't have to read a whole lot of it. What I found was great was the artist's date, and then there was another thing I found great. You'll find your own things in it that'll work for you, you know.
Yeah. Okay. That's really good advice. Sit down, work at it, be disciplined, and just keep doing it.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because it's music makes people kinder, that makes the world a better place, you know. So it's a great honor to be able to play music, you know, and make people feel better about themselves and the world, and be kinder to themselves and each other, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Damien, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I really do appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot, Andrew, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Damien Dempsey. He was saying there on Tips and Tricks that he finds it good to sit down and force himself to write songs. He even goes as far as saying he'll take a song, someone else's song, and he put different words on it and then change the chords. What do you think of that?
Our songs don't have any chords.
Yeah. Taking someone else's. Have you heard our music?
I have, and I like it.
I think, okay, as someone who is not writing the music, that, like, in terms of having to, like, work through it, that's not my personal experience, because, like, I write all the lyrics as poems, basically. So I don't write necessarily, unless we're all recording or kind of jamming together, I'm not writing, like, chord progression or, like, I'm going to do this melody here, because I couldn't tell you what either of those words
but Jamie,
mean.
Jamie, but you seem to work out the chords, or the lack of the riffs.
Chords, yeah. So it's kind of strange paradigm, because our, like, rehearsal sessions are generally our writing sessions, which are generally our recording sessions. So there's not that much time to actually sit down and write something. You just go in and record it. And so, like, for instance, in gender studies, when it comes out of the last, for want of a better word, chorus, it all falls apart. And that was not intentional. It was not supposed to do that. But that's the take that we used on the record. So then we had to go back and learn how to do that fall apart.
Yeah.
How, before we play laundries, how did laundries come about?
That was nothing
Did
to
you
do
start
with
with
me.
your poem?
We had been talking a lot about laundries because it was kind of when there was like a lot of awareness. It was like written around about 2016, and there was a lot of awareness about the
last laundry closing.
Which we were just told this used to be a mother and baby home. So it's like it was a lot about kind of, I guess, like the unearthing of a certain very, very, very dark chapter in Irish history.
Particularly Doom.
Massively,
I had a conversation with my grandfather about it, and he talked about how he used to give his sheets into the laundries, and he was like, oh God, I never thought about the fact that there were women in there. He was like, the sheets always came out so clean, which was like the initial seed of like the first opening stanza is the shame of those the shame of those houses with windows of steam, the shame of those sheets that came out so clean.
Well, that's a brilliant way to end this. Listen, thanks for coming out. I love your noise.
Thank you.
Raucous as it is, post-punk. So thank you very much.
We have some books we could recommend you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If you want to bone up on gender studies, if you want to come over.
Okay, I'm not going to go there. The final song for Mel, this is Laundries.